I'm tired of it because the education street prison pipeline is real. I'm a product of it. So it's real. And I'm tired of seeing these young kids go through that pipeline when they don't have to, when they can have the same opportunities as a kid in Redmond or Bellevue. If we can all come together as a collective, as a whole, as a unit, cohesively, and defund the SPD and tax Amazon cohesively as a unit and put it back into these Black communities. That's how we affect change here in Seattle. That's how we do this together. It's no Black over white or white over Black. No, as much as I'm pro-Black like anybody else, but I'm smart enough to know that we all have to do this together. So let's all get out here and do this together, hand in hand, differences of opinions or not, cohesively together, and let's defund the police and tax Amazon and put the money back into these Black communities where it's needed. Because if we're not gonna put the money back into the communities, the Black communities where it's needed, then what are we gonna do with the money, huh? According to the mayor's proposal, she wants to take money from every other department but the police. I think she's proposing between a 5 and a 10% budget cut for the police. What? $20 million. What is $20 million a year gonna solve? Let's be real. It doesn't really solve much in this city because from what I'm hearing, Seattle's gonna be about $300 million in debt after all this COVID stuff anyways, probably a little more now. So what is $20 million in a Black community that's already been impoverished? Black people live 30.6% below the poverty rate. So I think the mayor needs to go back with her community leaders and redraw that plan because no, we're tired of asking them to do stuff for us. We're tired. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm tired. I'm starting to demand it now because either you guys are going to do it or we're going to put you in a corner. It's that simple. It's that simple. So either be on the right side of history or be part of the problem. And the right side of history will be to defund SPD by 50% and tax Amazon. It's a no-brainer. If you have to think about it, then you're obviously not here for the right reasons, and you really should go educate yourself a little more and get on the same page and get here for the right reasons. Because these Black communities have been impoverished by the city for so many years. And it's just, we're tired of it now. Now we've had it to the point where we're just tired of it now. We're not going to put up with it anymore. So now it's on us as a community to put pressure on these politicians to actually step up and do what they're here for. Because we elected them. We put the politicians into power. That is us as people. So now it's on us as people to make them do what the people want. So let's defund SPD by 50% and tax Amazon, guys. And let's get all on the same page. Differences in opinion and all, we still got to do this together as a cohesive unit, regardless of, we don't have to like each other's opinions, but let's do this together because that's the only way. We all got one common goal, for Black lives to matter and to take care of these Black communities. We have the answers, so let's put them into play. Let's get on the same page and put them into play, and let's do it. Because a plan without action is just merely that, a plan. So let's get some action behind this plan. That's it.
I couldn't agree more, Teal-Shawn. We absolutely need action, and only plans will not be enough. And I also really appreciate what you said that
we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
If you're going to be with Black Lives Matter, then you have to actually, if politicians are going to say that Black Lives Matter, then they have to fight alongside us and stand with the movement that is demanding defunding the police by at least 50% and taxing Amazon so that we can begin to address the affordable housing crisis. And in fact, I think it's important to recognize the pressure that our movement has built on the establishment already, and we know that movements work. We just won, activists like Teal Sean and actually our next speaker, Tristan Spears, have been on the front lines of fighting directly against police violence, getting maced and tear gassed every night. And it was because of the kind of solidarity that Teal Sean mentioned, people standing together, that we were able to win this unanimous vote. Just 2 weeks ago on the city council, our movement won this incredible victory where we made Seattle the first city in the nation to have passed a ban on the use and purchase by Seattle police of any kind of chemical weapons or the so-called crowd control weapons that they use to try and quash social movements. And so we know that building movements works. The other sign is also the momentum that the Amazon tax movement has built. Just yesterday, the Bloomberg magazine, which is, it's very much a publication for the capitalist class. It is definitely not a socialist magazine. They published an article saying, which was headlined, Amazon may have to deliver new tax revenue to Seattle. So it's just an incredible momentum that the Justice for George Floyd movement and the uprising has lent to the demand related to police violence. And also, as Teal Sean was saying, if you don't understand that the question of addressing gentrification funded by taxing big business is also part of the Black Lives Matter movement, then there is time to do a little bit more reading. And on that note, I wanted to invite Tristan Spears, who's also, like Teal Sean, a native of Seattle, who has been involved with community-based youth organizations, and like Teal Sean has helped gather hundreds of signatures to defund the police at the recent rallies and at the Capitol Hill organized protest. Welcome, Tristan.
Thank you very much for allowing me to be here. Can everybody hear me? Just want to make sure. So, into playing off of what Teal Sean was saying, I've been there with the purpose of standing in solidarity for my Black community, not for the purpose of partying at CHOP or whatever people want to call it at this point. We do still manage to hold marches at this time. So people are always invited to come to those. Those will be held at 8 o'clock every day. We join that at Cal Anderson Park at 7. So, but and to the point of what we're doing here is to speak on the matters at hand and what is so important about making sure that we tax Amazon and defund the city police. One of the main things that I'm concerned about is today, I didn't really prepare for this. I was brought in last moment, but in the way coming home today, I got this flyer from the South Lake Union Whole Foods, which is of course owned by Jeff Bezos. And it's due to the fact that they were, stigmatizing employees for wearing face masks, COVID masks, which they want people to wear, that had slogans on them relating to Black lives after Jeff Bezos just donated $10,000. I'm sorry, excuse me, I lied, $10 million to these causes, but can't pay a lick of, federal or state taxes to. But after last night's march, I saw some of his employees and just asked them for humor. You guys pay taxes, right? And yeah, of course. But Jeff Bezos doesn't. It's crazy. He expects his employees who don't even make enough to live in the city to pay taxes, but yet he himself can't. It would take like 2 employees at the warehouse working full time to be able to afford a 1-bedroom in the city typically. And then you think about COVID and what we're going through in the Black community of being the most affected, that 6% that Teal Sean was talking about in our city could become lower. Just due to COVID itself. People got to remember that this is still going on, and bringing back the economy, starting with defunding the police is going to be huge. This is the most overpaid police force in the country. We're not that high violent city that people try to make us out to be. I've been involved in these streets for from growing up in them to trying to bring people out of them. This past years of being a father and seeing what my worth is in the community and what I can do for the youth, is especially where I try to target people while they're still young. So I know that that's where our focus needs to be. And the city did not hand over the building. youth centers that want youth care, they just slap in the face of the taxpayers. Now, I mean, that's one of the best organizations in the city, in the state for youth, and I mean, a lot of people rely on them for, you name it, a child in the streets, and for the city to just back them down like that and not give them what they deserve is just terrible. So bringing these funds is essential. Keeping that police department is essential, because I mean, where else are we going to put them? You guys have people want to sit here and make up what the problem is with having these people in the streets and hanging out and doing drugs all over the place, but you ain't making no solutions. You don't got no plans for it. So if you're just going to sit there and talk about it, stay on the sideline and watch, because these policies are going to bring forth change that are actually sound and quite possible. I mean, like I said before, if you look at the World Trade Organization and how they brought back in '99 the little meeting they wanted to bring about here that Seattle stopped, that had an effect on the world economy. I mean, so we're just trying to have an effect on our local economy, and we have the power to do that here. And, you know, with our council member Sawant leading this, I mean, you know, last time we got it done, but it got repealed. It's going to be done this time on a better status because we have more support. We have the community backing it, and people want to sit here and pretend that they're not. But again, today, driving home here in South Lake Union, I'm watching these employees and people gather in front of the Whole Foods Market and try to hand out these flyers saying that they're in support and solidarity with Black Lives Matter.
What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. And when do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. And when do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. And when do we want it? Now. And if we don't get it, shut it down. If we don't get it, shut it down. If we don't get it, shut it down. If
as components
is a part of an institution. Is part of an institution. That gentrifies black and brown communities. 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 That invests on calling the police. That invests on calling on the police. That invests on calling the police. On black and brown people. On black and brown people. Why the fuck are we here? Why the fuck are we here? Because institutions like these. Because institutions like these. Yes, I call it an institution. Yes, I call it an institution. That maligns themselves maligns themselves in racism. Maligns themselves in racism. And participate in calling on police. And participate in calling on police. Particularly homeless black youth. Particularly homeless black youth. Homeless black men. Homeless black men. Homeless black women. Homeless black women. Who just need something to eat. Who just need something to eat. They fucking call police. They fucking call police. We don't need businesses like this. Businesses like this. Shutting down black businesses. Shutting down black businesses. Replacing institutions.
In real life. They got caught fighting a chop and arrested in Oregon. Yeah, Robbie, you're referring to Tiny, who, I mean, when Proud Boys came through that day, we were definitely multi-streaming, live streaming. Holy crap, they are almost touching the glass now. So you're referring to Tiny, and when he came out here, I don't know who Tiny was before this, but I guess people knew who Tiny was, so he wasn't so tiny. Yep, he came out here, got caught on video fighting somebody, like throwing his phone around, and
It's just an intricate web, and it really shows that all of it ultimately relates to the way the capitalist system
I'm
works.
terrible sorry. I can't hear nobody. Black Lives Matter. I can't nothing.
Thanks, Tristan. I'm not sure why you're not able to hear me. Maybe if you mute yourself and sort of go off camera, maybe it'll help. I'm not sure. Um, but anyway, I was just on that point. I think the Guardian newspaper published a very important article a few days ago, which was titled "How Target, Google, Bank of America, and Microsoft, and Amazon is part of this too, quietly fund police through private donations." And it talks about how when you look at these so-called police foundations, these corporations funnel so much money, tens of millions of dollars to these police foundations, and these police foundations quietly allow and enable police departments across the nation to pile up military grade weapons that are used against Black and brown people and against protest movements, and how they also provide, they're hand in glove with the political establishment, and they provide cover to the police, because the kind of violence that activists like Tristan and Teal Sean and many others, and Joey Weiser, whom we'll have later on in the program,
I just want to say greetings to each and every one of you once again here today. And I think we should all give a warm and militant hug to the family of Valente. So if we can make some noise one more time, please. I just want to say greetings to each and every one of you once again here today. And I think we should all give a warm and militant hug to the family of Valente. So if we can make some noise one more time, please. So right here we're setting up a kind of memorial for Valente. And so we're going to give them a couple minutes to set that up. I'm also the son of Mexican immigrants who left their homeland, like many of our brothers and sisters that have traveled from thousands and thousands of miles away. Some of them walked, some of them got on a train, some of them even crossed oceans and ended up right here in these United States of North America. And so when I look into the crowd, I can see people from all different places. And sometimes it makes me extremely happy to know that we can go beyond and not see ourselves as from one nationality or from one ethnicity, but that we can stand together in solidarity and understand that we need to unite, and we need to unite to put these killer cops in prison. These killer cops, they kill every single day. I think there's an estimate out there that every 7 hours, one human being is murdered by law enforcement in these United States of North America. Justice for Valente Acosta Bustillos, or justice for Breonna Taylor, or justice for Orlando Avelleta. You know, there's one chant out there that says, you know, somebody would say his name, and then the crowd responds, whose name, or which one? Because as my comrade Cameron said, there is so many names. And you know, this struggle that we're in right now, especially since the murder of Valente and the assassination of George Floyd, the entire United States has erupted into a rebellion against police terror, and the people of Albuquerque are rising up also against police terror. And you know, when you think about, you know, these cops, they open up these investigations of themselves, and sometimes we get into the streets, or we take them to court, and sometimes it takes 2, 3, sometimes even 7 years to find out the results from a court case. But we know right here in these streets what exactly happened in this hole. That Valente was murdered by Albuquerque PD, and that killer cop is still on these streets, and we need to put him in prison. And we know that these courts, these prosecutors, these investigators, these chiefs of police, or attorney generals, the Department of Justice, they've been perfecting their institution of systematic oppression against poor and working class people from the beginning of this country. You know, the foundation of the police is in the slave patrols. And these killer cops, they have that memory in them, that it doesn't matter what the person is doing, whether you're at your job, whether you're just walking down the street, whether you picked up a sandwich from the trash can, they will kill you. But you want to know something, and something that's been teaching us these last few weeks, is that the people, when we get into these streets, we can actually win justice for our families. And so we've seen hundreds of thousands, and maybe right now we only see 200, maybe 300, and I'm sure there's people watching us on live stream or on the television. And so I want each and every one of you to know, and I want the family of Valente to know, that it's not just the people of Albuquerque, it's the people that have been fighting every single day for justice against police terror in these streets, and we're gonna make these streets ungovernable until we get justice for our families. So once again, we're gonna bring up a speaker right now, and I wanna say his name, Valente! Say his name! 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 Valente! his name? So we're gonna bring up a compañera, a friend, a teacher, and also, I guess, a presidential candidate in this United States of North America. Make some noise for Gloria La Riva.
Thank you, Adan. Sisters and brothers, I don't think there has ever been a march down Edith Street in Albuquerque. This is the first, and it won't be the last. Because what we really need to be doing is going to all the neighborhoods. Because this is where Valente was murdered. This is where people are terrorized. Albuquerque is a very, very working class town. New Mexico is a very working class state. But it's a state that, because it was poor, became disenfranchised. It's where the bomb was built. It's where all the military came here. It's the biggest military, it's the biggest employer in the country, is the military in this state. It's where all the nuclear plutonium pits are created for every nuclear bomb in the United States. And there are thousands. And these bombs are intended for war in the future against another country that wants to be independent. And this is why, when we're talking about jailing colored cops, it's one reform. But it's the most immediate one that we need. Why? Some people have been arguing that if you say jail killer cops, then you're justifying prisons, and people want the abolishment of the prisons, right? We need to abolish the prisons as we know them, because they're an abomination. Because the people in the prison are poor. They're black, white, Latino, Native, any nationality, but they're all poor, they're working class. And you see Michael Flynn and all those rich men getting out now because jail's not for them. They're the biggest criminals. So what we want is to abolish prison as we know it. But it must be filled with those who kill the innocent people. It must be filled with people like Donald Trump, who is killing people with his pandemic policy, which is a policy of murdering 122,000 here for failure to use the resources of the richest country in the world to solve the crisis of the epidemic of COVID-19. And this week, the COVID-19 has gone up 47% in the country. We're not safe yet. But there's a way to abolish the police. And that is, like others have said, abolishing the system. The police are the force that keeps the people down. The sheriffs are the force that makes you keep paying the rent you can't afford. What does the sheriff do? If the landlord's not keeping your home up to date, if you have poor plumbing, if you have roaches and rats, can you call the sheriff and say arrest the landlord?
No.
No. The court gives the order to evict. And millions are in danger of eviction now, right? After this pandemic, the PSL has been organizing a national campaign to cancel the rent. Cancel the rent and the mortgage. No more rent. If you stop paying rent, the buildings will still stand, right? The landlords won't get their money. The banks won't get their money because they got too much. So when we say abolish the prisons, we really mean abolish the system to create a humane system. Because out of 2.5 million people, a tiny percentage belongs in prison. Yes, gotta be honest. There's some people who have murdered a lot of women. There are people who really can't be in the street, but that's a tiny number. Everybody else, drug offenses, let them out. Give them a job, give them income. The women who had to kill their spouse for domestic abuse, let them out. I have been to many prisons to visit inmates, and the families who don't see their loved ones for 30 years, wives, children, they don't see their family the rest of their life. How do you keep a family like that? So that's why we're saying, sisters and brothers, it's not just any system, it's socialism we need.
That's right.
And we don't mean just Bernie Sanders socialism. We need a socialism where we say, end the blockade of Cuba and Venezuela. Shut down all the military bases in the world that the U.S. has. Bring home all the troops. Rebuild this country. Take over Facebook and Twitter and Google. Make them public utilities. And shut down all that surveillance. Anyway, we have a lot to talk about. We want to invite you.
They do. Yes, the hell they do.
Evet, şöyle gidelim yavaş yavaş. Araçlarında var o kadar. I mean, this thing is plugged to the hose, which plugs into here, which I don't know who refills this thing, but Lucky Bamboo Artistic Gardens. Who stepped up to be the leader? They're chasing quarter, Black Jared, please film. Have to. As some of you are, like how up to date and involved you all are with everything's here. Blue Artistic Gardens. Who stepped up to be the leader? They're chasing quarter, Black Jared, please film. Have to.
Who lives matter? Black trans matter. Who lives matter? Black trans lives matter. Who lives matter? Black trans lives matter. Who lives matter? Black trans lives matter. Black trans lives matter. Black trans lives matter. So we say we protect black women. Now we say we protect black trans women's lives. All right, we protect black trans women. 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 Black trans women.
Stop lying, let's keep it. We're giving them a little more space now because we can go. We're secure.
Got it. This is beautiful. We're on one of the busiest streets. Powerful. You are defeated. There's a splendid word. Our message is heard. Causing disruption in the street. Oh my bad. No justice, no.
And when something does go down and legal evidence is needed, I can just remove the dots and I'll be right back to where I was before.
It was just make a little bit of noise. And they change that son bitch down. Do you understand? When we stick together, we get shit done. 15 minutes, they had to change on the doors.
Agreed.
Now picture if we'd have had way more people. That would have let no one of them go in and out. So we'd have people on this side, that side, that side. Nobody go through. It took change. Hit these streets. shifts to do this shit. Do you understand? This is our life now. Day 29? Day 29? So tomorrow for day 30, we should fucking celebrate. We should celebrate tomorrow. Damn boy. This is history. 52 years ago, they did the same shit. I'm gonna say it again. 52 years ago, they did the same shit. I don't know how long they was doing it before they got changed, but I can do the research for that and educate myself later. And I'll let y'all guys know. But we gonna keep doing this. We ain't gonna stop. Do you understand? We peaceful.
Make them taxes we motherfucking pay, Worthy.
But guess what? Thank y'all, police. So now I don't have to cover none of those streets that y'all blocked off. Appreciate that shit.
Thank you.
But this is history, man. That's real. This is history. All we doing is taking back what's ours. We the people. Stay woke. Stay educated. And if y'all been doing your research, Charles Booker is leading the race. Charles Booker is leading the race. And Booker is from the same space we are from. So we need to put our people in the right places to make change.
I'm gonna dive on this food, man. I'm coming. Good night.
Between me and her, and they took full advantage because that's when the riots had first started. It was real bad.
On 8th Street.
Until there's justice for Valente. We want Valente to be a household name. We don't want this to happen to any more families. Not in Albuquerque. Not in Los Angeles. Not in Minneapolis. Not in Atlanta. Or anywhere else in this country. And we're going to take it even further because these killer cops, their brothers and sisters are the killer soldiers. It's a person with a gun who believes that they deserve all the people's money to go oppress other poor and working class people. We say no more. We don't want these killer soldiers, not in Bolivia, not terrorizing the people of Venezuela, not terrorizing and starving the people of Cuba. We don't want them murdering any more innocent children, mothers, fathers in Iraq, not in Afghanistan. But what we want is power for the working class, power for black people, power for brown people, power for indigenous people. And what we want is just remember, ABQ-PSL, you follow that organization. They're a powerful organization. We are here to bring justice. You can come right here. We have the sign-up sheet. We're about to end this soon. I just want to let everybody know that as we walk away, brown lives matter, black lives matter. We say black power to black people, brown power to brown people, and we will win justice. So I want everyone to know, if you're going downtown, if you're headed back, we're going to walk safely back. Some of us, sign up, please. Talk to our organizers. We want to make sure everybody gets safely back to their destination, because we're going to march many, many more times right here. Is that all right with y'all? Let me say power to the people.
Now we did a march from Denny Park. So many names. And we're here to remember them, and we're here to keep their names alive and keep their memories going and make sure that justice is sought out for them. So, yeah, I'm not sure what's going to happen right now at the stage, but yeah, you guys want to be talking about?
I don't know.
Check.
Are we running out of room, you guys? There is a lot of people here. This is amazing! If you're just coming in, I would recommend filtering over to the side of the water, the more. It looks like there's a little bit of room over there still. I don't know if I really planned for this many people. This is a lot of people. I know. Thank you.
Hi.
Desert is also fucking police central. Not the white area. We don't believe on colonial, capitalist, white anarchist principle, because we have to remember that black and brown people has been fighting the shit since day one. Since 1492, black and brown and indigenous people have been fighting side by side to take down the system, right? But if it's Ramona, Africa, right? The MOVE, I don't know, y'all know what MOVE is? Yeah. Mumia. Yeah, Mumia. Right? We're talking about the Black Panther movements. Right? We're talking about the Zapatistas. We're talking about indigenous people, name holding their land. Right? Paying respects to Taino people, black people that join forces with Taino people, fighting against colonization. Right? And to this day, people in Standing Rock, warriors that fucking shut down those fucking pipelines. Same fucking police that shut them down when they're trying to, protect the land. The same motherfuckers that comes down to black and brown community trying to harass them every single day. Because you know what they tell us as black and brown people? Our value is a commodity. They want us to be pushing the fucking capitalist wheel. right? We're the one that's supposed to be serving the system. We're the ones supposed to be cleaning the system. We're supposed to be the ones feeding the system. But every time we dissent and we say, fuck no, we end up in jail. Right? If we said, we'd be like, oh, we're going to hustle in a non-9-to-5 way, black and brown people who are literally just hustling to survive are going to jail. Because we live in a fucking system that tells black men, right, hustling in the street is a crime. Well, motherfucker, Wall Street is a crime. Yeah. I don't see no arresting white people. I don't see what's in this book over here. So, right, so I believe, and this is our space, I've always believed on black experience. Because black people and brown people and indigenous people have been fighting this thing. We don't need to be called abolitionists. We're abolitionists by heart. Right? So, like, we're here to support you. We might not be as loud as, like, nonprofits. But we're fucking here. Like, you know, we're here to support black women. We're here to support black women behind prisons. We're here to support Vaughn. Vaughn's, I don't know when you know Vaughn 17. Vaughn 17 are fucking black and brown prisoners who in Delaware, like, literally rioted for better conditions in prison, and they're facing so much time in jail because they fought for something that they believed in, right? So even outside this space, black people are still fighting for their lives. In and out of this fucking prison. In and out of this fucking jails. So the work is never done. So I hope that when we go home, that we don't kill the movement. Because when we kill the movement, then it's left for black and brown people to yet again face the situation. What we need to have an understanding from bus stop to be okay. It's cool that we're all here. I'm talking to white people. It's cool for us to like be all here, kumbaya, but at the end of the day, this is strength. The problem begins from our opposite. So the work has to begin on like creating, I don't know, like one of the things that we advocated later reflected is about creating your own mediation practices. Doing your affinity groups, right? Self-defense training, right? Black women, brown women should have the right to self-defend, especially when dealing with we're dealing with like literal domestic violence. We, people over here, should not be reprimanding women for having to protect their bodies from sexual assault. Because if we don't tell them that it's okay for them to push back, what's ended up happening, the police comes in and intervene. And we don't want that. It's also the same thing that we should not be criminalizing people who are dealing with mental health, who's dealing with mental health issues. We should come up with other healing mechanisms rather than throwing them into mental institution that is impaired with the police because it's a form of prison. Right? We need to invest on healing mechanisms. What does that look like? I don't know whether that's not for you to you, but at the end of the day, that conversation is happening now. Let's immediate.
Dealing with Louisville Metro, the police department. Do you understand? The real pandemic is Louisville Metro Police Department. That's the only virus I see. Because they can do, shoot, kill anybody. It don't matter. But I'm proud of every last one of us. I don't care if you've been here for 1 day. I don't care if you've been here for the whole 30 days. I don't care. Y'all out here for the same shit. We out here together every night. I slept up here at least 5 or 6 times. And I don't have to. I got my own 5-bedroom house so I can go home to every night. Hey, cut that off.
Go tell that speaker to turn off.
State policy geçiyor.
I'm originally from Flint, Michigan. A lot of you may know Flint, Michigan as a city who is still enduring a water crisis in the most developed nation in the world, which is fucking despicable, but that's a conversation for another day. All right, and I'm a service member. I have been since November 2009, and it has not been an easy road joining.
That's how he got out. Because he was one of the 56 that got locked up. And he's out and still fucking marching. That speaks volumes right there.
That's how I got out.
They locked me up and thought I was going to come back out here. They said, hey, let's get this guy because he's doing so much. He's got the bullhorn. He's a leader. I'm not no fucking leader. I'm just tired of the bullshit. Do you understand? I'm tired of the bullshit. And we're here together. Because I tell you, if y'all go home and look at the mirror right now, y'all looking at a leader. Go home, look at a mirror, and y'all looking at the next leader.
Burası Emniyet Müdürlüğü, yok NYPD'nin karargahı. Burası yatma alanı insanların. 3 çeşit evleri. Gece gündüz buradalar. Bütün eylem aşağı yukarı katılıyor. Siyahi. Güzel de müzik de güzel. Koku dağıtıyor böyle.
Night in a city like Seattle. Literally welcomes talent from all four corners of the globe. We, by nature of our lack of diversity in our culture, have you noticed the deficit in advertisement, merchandise, and products that our pride here, those businesses we spend so much money on, alienated us when they didn't have a reason to exploit Pride season? Well, I don't care what they say. Pride isn't canceled. We aren't canceled, and Black queerness is shit. I don't know about y'all, okay? But I am tired of being exploited and then abandoned come July 1st, all right? We aren't canceled, and Black queerness is... I don't know about y'all, okay? But I am tired of being exploited and then abandoned come July 1st, all right?